Hey guys, today's video, I'm going to be reviewing EltaMD sunscreens. I've gotten requests over the years to review their sunscreens. You'll know I've been a longtime fan and worn their sunscreens for years actually. I think when I first uploaded a video to YouTube, one of the first videos I uploaded, I was wearing an EltaMD sunscreen. Anyways, EltaMD, if you're not familiar, is a skincare brand that is sold in dermatologist offices and through certain authorized retailers like skinstore.com. Today's video is actually sponsored by skinstore.com. If you're not familiar, they have a ton of fantastic skincare brands on their website, including my favorite, Color Science. You guys know, for example, I often recommend the Mineral Powder by Color Science for touch-ups. They also have another favorite of mine, the Neostrata Defend Sheer Physical Protector. I've recommended this in my videos on tinted sunscreens. It's great, wonderful consistency, and gives the skin a nice glowy look. And they also are an authorized distributor of EltaMD skincare. So if you guys check below in the description box, I have a special discount code for you guys to save money on EltaMD products, and also a discount code for you guys to save money on other products off of their site. So definitely check in the description box. I will have details to save you guys some money if you are looking to purchase a new sunscreen. All right, let's start out with one of my favorite EltaMD sunscreens, and that is UV Sport. I bring this to your attention because maybe with this upcoming holiday weekend and throughout summer, you plan to do a lot of things outside. I like to gravitate towards a sport sunscreen, one that's water resistant. Now this particular product, you guys have probably seen me wear in a number of my videos over the years. It's actually a combination sunscreen. What that means is it has zinc oxide, which is a mineral active ingredient, and then it has two chemical active ingredients, octinoxate and octisalate. So it's combination mineral and chemical. And I find that combination sunscreens, they, for me, leave no cast, but on deeper skin tones, they will leave a subtle white cast that for some people is not aesthetically pleasing. So just so you're aware of that. But in general, if you see a combination sunscreen, you can feel confident that it's gonna have maybe a little bit of a cast, but not like that frank ghost white appearance. Anyways, I have always loved this. It's water resistant up to 80 minutes, which is great when you're doing activities, sweating a lot. It doesn't run into the eyes. It stays in place really well. If you wanted to put this on and then allow it to absorb fully and apply makeup on over it, I think you would find that makeup goes on over it quite well. I'm just going to show you what the Sport looks like on here. This product's really moisturizing. All of their sunscreens, by the way, are free of fragrance, but this particular UV Sport, it does leave the skin looking a little bit shiny. So for some people, they don't care for that as far as from an aesthetic perspective for everyday use, but if you're gonna be outside doing sports, out by the beach, this is a great one. It's SPF 50. Now the UV Sport, it has a very short ingredient list. It doesn't have hyaluronic acid. You'll find as we go through the different EltaMD sunscreens that some of them have hyaluronic acid and others don't. And for some people, they don't get along well with hyaluronic acid, so I'm gonna continue to point that out as we go along. But this one does not have hyaluronic acid in it. It's just a very basic, no-nonsense sunscreen that's great for that active lifestyle, being outdoors. If you're gonna be out by the pool, this is a great option for you. The water resistance factor is nice in that it ensures just a little bit of durability in between reapplications, but as a reminder, you do need to reapply every 2 hours while you are outside, even if it is water resistant. And if you get in the water with your sunscreen on, as soon as you get out, you absolutely need to put more sunscreen on, even if it's water resistant. It doesn't mean waterproof. It just means that it holds up a little bit better in the water because you need that sunscreen while you are underwater. You can get a burn in the water. So long story short, love this. It has been a long-standing favorite of mine. Now, you may have noticed they have another sort of sporty sunscreen, EltaMD UV Active. This is newer. And it differs from UV Sport in that, unlike UV Sport, it is a mineral only sunscreen. Remember, UV Sport was a combination sunscreen, so you can see the kind of cast that you're gonna get with that. Now, the UV Active is mineral only, so you're gonna get more of a noticeable cast for sure with it. It definitely leaves a cast. If you have a deeper skin tone, you will definitely notice that. In my experience using it, and in my opinion for my skin tone, it's very subtle as far as mineral sunscreens go. It is pretty sheer, but you can definitely see it on my skin. Like the UV Sport, it's going to be water resistant, and it is, like the UV Sport, a little shiny. Another great option though for days by the beach, doing sports outside, outdoor activities. Unlike UV Sport, because UV Active is mineral only, if you're somebody who finds that chemical sunscreen ingredients are irritating, you would want to go with UV Active over UV Sport. UV Active, like UV Sport, does not have any hyaluronic acid in it either. Here's one that I have shared with you guys numerous times, but I'm going to remind you about its unique features. This is EltaMD's UV Clear. Now, this is a great sunscreen if you are super oily. It's very matte. It works well under makeup. This type of sunscreen is a combination sunscreen, so you will get a little bit of a cast, but not as strong as a mineral only. So it's got zinc and octinoxate in it, so it's a combination sunscreen. UV Clear also has niacinamide in it, which is helpful for oily skin as well as dry skin. Niacinamide, however, can burn and sting some people, so if you're sensitive to niacinamide, this would not be your Elta to choose. You can get this either as is, or you can get a tinted version. The tinted version is a little on the orange side in my experience, but it is quite good. The advantage of choosing the tinted is that it has iron oxides in it, which may offer some protection against propigmenting wavelengths of visible light. So if you have a deeper skin tone that heals with hyperpigmentation, try the tinted form of this if you're interested to try it, because those iron oxides will offer some protection, and they can kind of also, the tint kind of helps mask whatever white cast you get with it. The tint I would not classify, however, as universal. I really just don't find that universal tint is helpful nomenclature. I don't think they claim it to be, but it is more on the orange side of things. When I use it, I look a little like I've put on, you know, a bronzer or faux tan. So be aware of that, but this particular product, like I said, for me, it's actually a little too matte, and I kind of find it more on the drying side. So if you're looking for that, I think you'll like it. Because this is so matte, I think it works really well under makeup. A lot of people who wear makeup love this, swear by it. So to be clear, clear is good if you have oily skin or you're looking for that super matte finish. UV Clear is not water resistant. It's kind of a product that you reach for everyday use. You can think of it as a moisturizer with SPF. Now, UV Daily is another similar product that you could reach for as your moisturizer with SPF. Here I have the tinted form. For me personally, I actually prefer this to UV Clear. This is a lot more moisturizing. It does have hyaluronic acid in it. The tint on this, I think, looks great. It is, to me, it's a lot more aesthetically pleasing, the tint. It's not too orangey. It works really well if you have medium to deep skin tone, the tint, and it's just very moisturizing. Like UV Clear, UV Daily is a combination sunscreen. So if you choose the non-tinted version and you have a deeper skin tone, be aware you're probably gonna get a little bit of a white cast. But if you have a skin tone on the paler side, you're not going to notice any cast with the non-tinted one for sure. The cast is only going to be noticeable if you have a deeper skin tone. It's not that white sheet look, but if you have a deeper skin tone, you're definitely going to see that more of a white flash with the combination sunscreens than a frank, you know, white sheet. But it is there, and if you have a deeper skin tone, I don't want you to grab for these and then be let down when you get that cast. But the tinted form, I think, would work quite well for deeper skin tones. I think it masks that white flash well. So give it a try, it's quite good. UV Daily has hyaluronic acid. If you're sensitive to hyaluronic acid, you would want to avoid it, but for me, it works really well. I live in a super humid climate, so I do well with hyaluronic acid-based products. As a reminder, hyaluronic acid is a great ingredient in moisturizers. It helps hold on to water in the skin, but it can cause irritation for people because if it's not paired with occlusives, which all sunscreens have occlusives, so you don't have to worry about that part of it. But if it's not paired with occlusives, then that water that it holds onto will just evaporate out of the skin and pull more water out and end up leading to more dryness. And that tends to be even more problematic if you live somewhere if you live in a dry climate like Colorado, for example. Here in Houston, I probably could put hyaluronic acid serum all over my body and go out and it wouldn't evaporate because the moisture gradient is, you know, there's nowhere really for it to go. Whereas water goes where it's absent. See here, I mean, it's pouring down rain right now, so no water would be pulled out of my skin. But in Colorado, the air is much dry. Water's going to evaporate more readily. So I do well with hyaluronic acid-based products, and that is a great product for me, and I really recommend it. It gives the skin a nice glowy look, as opposed to that matte finish, which I find to be a little kind of, at least for me, it's a little just too drying, the UV Clear. And I find that it makes my skin look and feel tight, whereas the UV Daily gives it a little bit more bounce and hydration. So, yeah. Now, UV Physical was my very first EltaMD sunscreen, and I continue to adore it. It is one of my favorites from EltaMD. It is strictly mineral. It's zinc and titanium dioxide, so no chemical filters, and it is tinted. It has, so the tint, as a reminder, offers some protection against those pro-pigmenting wavelengths of visible light that affect deeper skin tones. This particular product also has quercetin and thioctic acid, which are antioxidants. I try to not get you guys too excited about antioxidants in sunscreens because we do have studies showing that in sunscreens, the way sunscreens work, they set up a film on the skin and that kind of prohibits the antioxidants from getting in and doing what they're supposed to do. But this particular product does have those two antioxidants in it, and I don't think any of the others have those two particular ones. This sunscreen does not have any hyaluronic acid in it, and personally, this is the one I used to live in Colorado, and this sunscreen I used when I lived there. It doesn't have hyaluronic acid, and I found it to be very moisturizing. Now this one, unlike the Daily and the Clear that I just mentioned, this one's water resistant, up to 40 minutes. So a little shorter of a time of water resistant duration, and as opposed to the active and sport ones and the spray, those were 80 minutes. This one is 40 minutes. So it's good if you know, are active but not necessarily outside. You want a little bit more reassurance that the sunscreen is staying on in between reapplications. This is good for that. This one is not shiny whatsoever. Even though this is an only mineral sunscreen, I've always been impressed with how well the tint covers the white cast on this. Now, if you have a deeper skin tone, it will likely leave the skin kind of looking a little lavender. So be aware of that. But for me personally, this one has been a great one I've used over the years. And I did wear this sunscreen actually when I lived in Colorado. For those of you who don't know, I spent a lot of my life in Colorado where it's very dry. This one does not have hyaluronic acid. So I'm pointing that out because I used it there. It worked quite well for me there. So if you live in a dry climate, this one would be good for you to try. I've always found that the UV Physical for me really gives the skin a nice glowy, healthy, radiant look without being drying. It is mineral only, and I get a lot of comments, mineral sunscreens are just too drying. This one is not whatsoever. This one's very moisturizing in my experience using it. So I would recommend this one if you find that mineral sunscreens are drying. Try this one out. All right, next up is UV Elements. Now, this is mineral only, so if you're sensitive to chemical filters, this one does not have any chemical filters. It is water resistant. This one does have hyaluronic acid, so if you're sensitive to that, be aware. This one also has a vitamin C ester, which is not likely beneficial in the sunscreen. to just cut to the chase. Vitamin C esters, they're a lot more stable than L-ascorbic acid. We don't have the data that they actually get into the skin, convert to ascorbic acid, and help with boosting up collagen production and that sort of thing. Plus, in a sunscreen, it's very unlikely to get into the skin. Probably just helps with overall ingredient stability. This also has tocopherol or vitamin E. So those two things are antioxidants. So that's kind of one thing that's unique about this. It does, like I said, it does have hyaluronic acid. And so if you're irritated by that, you would want to avoid UV elements. But it's a pretty nice tinted mineral sunscreen. All right, UV elements is very similar to UV replenish, the next one I'm going to talk about. UV replenish is water resistant, SPF 44, just like elements. It's got hyaluronic acid, just like elements. It's a mineral only sunscreen, just like elements. Moisturizing, not drying. Aside from UV clear, I find all of the Elta sunscreens to be pretty moisturizing. All right, the next one I want to draw your attention to is UV Restore. I have the tinted one here. Now, UV Restore is a mineral only sunscreen. It's SPF 40. And this one is not water resistant. So it's kind of, again, not something you would want to use if you're going to be out sweating a lot or by the pool or whatnot, but it's a good everyday moisturizing sunscreen. There's no hyaluronic acid in UV Restore, so if you're sensitive to hyaluronic acid, there you go, you have an option here. This one is unique in that it's got squalane and ginger root, and I have to say this one really gives the skin a nice luminous glow, and I think it's because of that squalane. Squalane's a nice lightweight emollient. This one, they have a tinted version and a non-tinted version. So the non-tinted is going to leave a white cast because this is mineral only, but the tinted will leave that kind of lavender look on deeper skin tones, but the tint is a little orangey. The ginger root in this is moisturizing and it's also an antioxidant, but again, the limitations of antioxidants and sunscreens are that they likely don't actually get into your skin to fight off free radical damage. But it's in there, so that's kind of a unique feature of this one. I find across all their sunscreens, they're all very good, but there'll be like one subtle little ingredient tweak here and there that makes one different from the other. UV Restore is completely vegan too. A lot of the EltaMD sunscreens have like beeswax in them and are not, but UV Restore is. So definitely check it out if you are looking for a vegan sunscreen. It's very good. All right, EltaMD's UV Shield is a combination sunscreen. So I personally find that UV Shield is very similar to UV Daily, except there's no hyaluronic acid in UV Shield, whereas UV Daily did have hyaluronic acid, which works well for me, but if you're sensitive to it, then there you go. UV Shield is SPF 45, whereas UV Daily was SPF 40. Minor difference, like splitting hairs there, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. UV Shield is a good everyday moisturizer with SPF. And just bearing in mind that if you're sensitive to hyaluronic acid, it is in there, so be aware of that. But otherwise, that is yet another good one. All right, next up we have EltaMD's UV Pure. This is exclusively mineral. Definitely leaves a white cast, water resistant up to 80 minutes. So this would be another good one to use if you are sporty, outdoors, active and whatnot. UV Pure has the vitamin C ester in it, however, so if you're irritated by that, you would want to avoid this, but it does not have hyaluronic acid. UV Pure is actually pretty similar to UV Active, except UV Pure has the vitamin C ester and UV Active does not. UV Active is SPF 50 and UV Pure is SPF 47. Splitting hairs there, very minor difference, but both are water resistant up to 80 minutes. So that's kind of the difference there. Both leave, the same cast, same strong white cast. If you have a pale skin tone though, and very sensitive skin, like you have rosacea, Pure would be a good option for you, or I mean, really any of these are rosacea friendly. But the more sensitive you are, you might want to just stick to purely mineral, because in many cases, people who have sensitive skin, they find that the chemical filters and the combination sunscreens are irritating. All right, guys, those are all the EltaMD sunscreens. I hope this video was helpful to you all. You know, it's kind of, like I said, they're all very good sunscreens. The differences are just like minor ingredient tweaks here and there. I think it's notable if you are sensitive to hyaluronic acid. Hopefully this video is helpful in terms of pointing out those that have it and don't. Check the description box. I will put down below like some of these key hallmark features. So if you have already forgotten everything, don't worry, it'll all be down there. And also I want to draw your attention to the fact that EltaMD is in fact cruelty-free. So for the vegans out there, EltaMD is a great brand, and you know, you've got UV Restore as an option for a totally vegan product, vegan and cruelty-free. That can be hard to find. So again, check the description box. I will put some of these salient features that you might be looking for, like water resistant, combination versus zinc, tinted, not tinted, and hyaluronic acid. I'll point out whatever antioxidants, kind of a summary in the description box. So yeah, that is everything. I hope, like I said, this was helpful. And don't forget, check out the discount code too. Don't pay full price. Thank you, skinstore.com, for providing that and for sponsoring today's video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.